with him and what that was like?
Honestly, I can't say I have a vivid first memory of him being in the gym with him, but I know it was like probably a month or maybe 2 weeks before training camp going into my rookie year, and we were playing pickup every day, and he came in, and I just remember he was dominating, which is normal of typical of him. He was talking a lot of shit, so I was like, okay, like I'm getting this is about to be the beginning of the Kobe experience for me personally. Yeah.
And talk about maybe some of the game time playing you had with him and what he was like.
Um,
What
so
separated him?
how it worked out was I had training camp with them, and then I was in the G League for the majority of my rookie year. So by the time he got called up, last time I got called up, he was hurt, so I didn't physically play on the court with him in the actual game. But I remember my first game with the team. I actually said it on my Instagram, but he used to come out to the games late because he was hurt. So he came in maybe at the end of the first quarter, and he seen me in the timeout, and he just had this big smile on his face and gave me a huge hug and was like, "Congrats" and all that. So like that's something I'm gonna always remember, just like the love he showed for me in that moment right there. That was big to me. Yeah.
As although you didn't share court minutes with him,
Yeah.
what does it mean to you to have been on the same roster as Kobe Bryant?
Well, yeah, I mean, I got to go through 2 training camps with him. So, camp is where you're going to, play a lot. You're going to have them long practices, 2 a days and everything. So I feel like just getting that time around him and competing against him, I'm going to just remember how much of a competitor he was. He was like no other. And at the same time, if you made a good play or if you did something out there, he'd give you a respect for it. So I like that about him as well.
And we know Kobe the player, but as a teammate, as a friend, how was he? Can you describe him?
I wouldn't call him a friend. We never had like a personal relationship. But as a teammate, I would just say I got to watch him from a distance and just pick up on his preparation for the game and all those type of things. And he had some moments where we would talk. I know we had a team dinner one time in Vegas, and we actually sat next to each other and we had like 2 hour conversation. Not just me and him, but like the 4 of us on that side of the table. So just getting to see the other side of him, I was like, man, he cool. He cooler than I thought, like as a person. And I know a lot of the people who was closest with him are sharing some of those type of stories of the other side of his personality that we didn't really get to see while he was competing. But I thought it was cool that once he retired, he became like more like friendly towards like the public and people who might have not liked him while he was playing just because he wasn't on their team start to embrace him. Like he's really a smart dude. He's an ambassador for the game, and he's just somebody that you would aspire to be like.
And it's a tremendous loss for
Yeah,
everyone, and especially you met
yeah,
him in person. What this represent? Although he was already post-retired,
yeah,
but like having him on the sidelines, still watching
yeah,
games, still getting involved with
yeah.
women's basketball. What does that mean to basketball in general?
I mean, I feel like it's the biggest loss basketball probably the sport has had. I can't think of a guy who was as big as him who died at an age that he died, and it wasn't like it was just a tragedy. It wasn't anything self-inflicted or anything like that. So it still doesn't feel real to me. Like I woke up today and I was just like, I don't know. Like I've been trying to take it out of my mind, but I can't. It's just hard. Like it's Kobe Bryant. We're talking about one of the most famous and impactful athletes ever. So I don't know.
Where were you when you heard the news and how did you
Uh,
hear?
we had just got back from our trip, our last road trip from Sioux Falls, and somebody texted me and was like, I don't even remember the exact words they said, but I just got on Google and I didn't see it, so I went on Twitter and I started to see some things, and it was just like, I don't know. I was hoping it wasn't true. It kind of reminded me of when Nipsey Hussle passed, and that's somebody who was real inspirational to me as well. And it's just kind of like you don't want it to be true, and then when you find out it is, it's just like, it takes a minute to sink in. It took a minute for it to sink in for me, for sure.
How did Kobe inspire you for your basketball career?
Just somebody that his work ethic above all things. He was very successful, but I like the way his approach to the game was and his mentality. He didn't really care to have friends out there if you weren't on his team. He was trying to, go at your throat every time. And I kind of, that's the type of play that I'm used to coming from Oakland. So I definitely try to embody the work ethic and the mentality to the game. And my dad was a huge Kobe fan, so it was just like, I took a lot from him. I would say for sure.
What to you? What made him special?
All those things I said before, and then just he was just a super smart dude. Like it wasn't just basketball with him. Like you could tell he was well versed, and just somebody who didn't even go to college, and he spoke multiple languages, and just when he opened up to you individually, and you might have just had a conversation on a deeper level than basketball, you kind of just saw like, oh yeah, this is a wise person, and I think that's what we saw more of once he retired.
Is there a particular moment that you remember Kobe, maybe a Kobe that no one else saw, you know?
I don't say I have a ton of them moments because I didn't go through a full season with him, but I know that moment when I got called up was one. Just getting to compete with him in that first training camp, like hitting few shots on him, and just getting that respect back from him, and just it was really just like kind of like when you're in it, you can't look at somebody too much like what I'm saying, look up to him because you competing and I was fighting for a roster spot, so it's kind of like when you get to reflect in it after the fact is when you're like, man, I was really playing with one of the greatest to ever lace him up.
Did you get a chance to dunk on the other?
No, I never dunked on him, nothing like that. No.
Jabari, you were actually on the road when you found out about the news, but a lot of people were actually on the courts. A lot of the players that played with him or against him were on the court, and they found out about this. What are your thoughts about the NBA continuing the games that day?
I mean, I feel like it was probably came in so late to where they probably weren't able to, stop the games in time. I feel like if they had the time, they would have. Obviously, you could see league-wide the reaction and the impact. So I'm sure I couldn't imagine them trying to play thinking about that. So, it's tough. But I don't think it's probably nothing they could really do about it.